Everybody. I think we're ready to get started. All right. Good morning, everyone. It's Cecilia again. This is the Drupal 10 training session and support where we're going to provide you with a little walkthrough of all things Drupal 10, how to access your rows and cards, and some exciting features that we have. And then we would just entertain questions. We do have an agenda. So with your permission, I'm going to progress through these slides real quick. If you have any questions about features or functionalities, we have cms.colorado.gov. That is our website. We also have a little request. If you have any questions, please place those in the chat. The Tyler Colorado team will be monitoring the conversation and providing answers. And then if you have questions, please raise your hand and we will take care of those after we go through this brief agenda. Okay, guys? So make sure you put your questions in the chat and we will address those. This is our loose agenda for today. And the goal of today is to show you that rows and cards have not been deprecated and where you can find those, and also show you the new feature. So again, this is our agenda right here. With your permission, I'm going to shift over to the browser. So one moment. Can you guys see my screen okay? Can I get a thumbs up? All right. Thank you, Krista. Thank you so much. So this is the same site that we shared the last time. Just a disclaimer, this is the site in the development. Thank you so much, Wendy. I see your little thumbs up. That's awesome. This is not in the production environment. This is the training site that we are developing to provide you training. Once the entire upgrade is complete, you will have a training site similar to the experience that you currently have with cms.colorado.gov. So a few things to share is the backend. You will still, once your site is upgraded, you will still access your website. Oops, let me go ahead and mute. Sorry. Alrighty, if you're joining us late, just make sure you mute your microphone as you're joining the space. Thank you so very much. So yeah, a few things. We were talking about signing onto your website. If you are using your Google single sign-on, that module has been moved over to Drupal 10. So the way in which you authenticate will still be the same. Okay. And once you authenticate, this is familiar because this is your current Drupal 9 site in which you have this admin functionality. These are your admin menus that you could toggle in and out of the environment. It will all look the same. So with your permission, I'm going to click over to the Drupal 10 environment. Again, this is in development, but you would notice that you still have the same functionality. Your modules will be right here. And depending on the role that you play in your organization, you will have a variety of different modules. In my case, I have a few more modules than what you might see. But you should have the people configuration in some cases, the structure, and the content. Now, the first thing that I wanted to share is that we still have the features of the alert. This piece of content right here is a Drupal 10 alert content type. Underneath it, you have your utility menus, and then you have your header area. Now, since this website is in the development environment, I haven't populated a logo, but this is where you could add your logo. And if you do have a logo request, just make sure you put that in partner support so that I could go ahead and have the developers upload a new logo for your website should you have that need, okay? So then here at the very top right, we have our Google search. This is an improvement that we did in Drupal 9 a few months back. We went away from the previous solar index and we're doing now the Google search. So this will be your Google search option here, and you have your main navigation. The main navigation is just as it was in Drupal 9. And then you have here your rows and your cards. I'm going to scroll down so that you can see this real quick. This is a basic card. We have some anchor text. Here on your right-hand side, we have a media card. Here I have chosen 3 icon cards with the, I think it's called charcoal, with the white contrast. And this is a media card on a single, on a row. Here at the bottom, I have another card. Remember the font awesome icon? That's the font awesome icon option if you want to leverage that. And then we have another basic card here at the bottom. And then we have the footer, which is still going to be rows and cards. You could configure it however you want. And then we have the global footer. Okay. So this is a landing page that was created using rows and cards. I'm going to click on this edit function on the edit functions here so you can see that it is still rows and cards. So give me 1 second for it to load. Everything here should be familiar. At the top, you can view the web version where we just were. We have the edit. We have the option to delete. We ask that you proceed with caution and do not delete the home page ever. We still have our revision log. And this morning I executed some changes and I put them back in so that you can see that every single time we make a change, this revision log has not been deprecated. This is still going to be there. You could clone the page and you could look at the usage of the page as well. So this all remains the same. So I'm going to go back in the edit and I'm going to show you here that we have the 4 different rows and I'm going to click on edit so that you can see the rows and the cards in there. We still have the same functionality with the widths, the borders, all that good stuff. I haven't added any title to this row, but down here I have 2 cards. I have the basic card. And then further down, you will see that I have the media card, and the media card is still pointing to the media library as expected. If I wanted to add the URL here, I could do that. I could do a relative path, things that are relative to our database, or an absolute path, something that is outside, or I could just leave it blank. And then further down, you will see that I have the other rows and cards here with the icon cards. I'm just going to click on one so that you can see the dialog that will populate. That is the icon from Font Awesome. So if I wanted to populate like on the bottom one with the charcoal, that's just my preference of colors, but all the colors are the same. But you could just go ahead and add a link, add a different color. Your publishing function is still at the bottom. That has not changed. You still have a preview option. And then I'm going to scroll up so that you can see that we do have the aliases. So if your title happens to be super long and you wanted to change, you could just deselect the generate automatic URL aliases and populate what is necessary to fit your business need. And you do have the revision log messages here. There are menu settings. This is all very familiar. You could provide a media link here to the main navigation or any of the other menus that we have. So again, you will notice that I have already created a few. So if I wanted to populate this underneath the glossary terms, we could do that. But for the sake of the example, I'm just going to leave it as is because this is the home page. But again, if you wanted to manage redirects, you could do that from here, or we could show you how to do that later on. But it's the same experience that you have had as of Drupal 9. It will be the same here in Drupal 10. Alrighty. So I'm going to click back on this little breadcrumb so that we could go back to the home page. Because the second thing that I wanted to do, and again, the Drupal team is in the background. We're in the middle of our page. So if you think this is all active and very dynamic, but that is a logo right there for Acquia. But again, everything seems the same because the experience is basically the same. I wanted to show you your content module because this is where we're going to be looking at the content that you have populated, and this is where we're going to look at the new layout content type. So for instance, if I wanted to look at the landing page, I could do the edits from the view here, or I could do those through the content module by executing the edit function over on the very far right. But you would notice that there are some new content types that I have added here. These are the ones from the previous training sessions that we have had. But you could still access all of your basic pages from your previous site here. And it goes on and on and on, but all of your content will be here. If you wanted to narrow it down by content type, you could use the familiar content types, or you could just narrow them down by the new content type, which is the layout. Okay. A few things about the media library. There is a tab for layouts. And these are, this is language that is familiar because these are those templates that we had provided before, but you could still locate all of your media and your files as you would. So if I had some little PDFs or some reports or some, I don't know, images for contact cards that I'm creating in the future, or I don't know, I'm thinking of our town's ordinances or any type of minutes or agendas or things that our districts and different types of groups will have, you will still be able to access those here. Okay, and the same for the media. The media, it will give you the thumbnail here first, and then it will give you the media name and the source and who who uploaded the image. You have the option of deleting them from here. That has not changed. And then you will have the most updated at the top. This is duplicated here because that was the change that I wanted to execute for you guys to see the revision log. But at any rate, this is where your media items will live. This is all in the media library. How are we doing so far? Okay, I don't see any hands up or any questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle back here so that you guys could see. I think there is a question. Go for it, Krista.
Sorry, I did have a quick question. I missed the earlier trainings, and I'm looking on your website that you gave us. Are the templates there somewhere so that those who maybe missed the first trainings can see them? And then the other question I have is, and I apologize, I don't mean to sound, I don't know what the right word is. Would you mind speaking just a little bit slower? You are whipping through this so fast, and I know we're on a time crunch, but I'm like going, whoa, slow down. So if you wouldn't mind, and maybe if it's just me, then I'll go back and watch the recording. But that would be helpful for my brain anyway. Thank you.
That is fair. That is fair. And I do appreciate that feedback. All feedback is good feedback. I was just trying to make sure that we went through the items, but I will slow down. Okay, so what we just did is that we walked through the content on that basic page. Your landing page is a content type that carries over from Drupal 9, and it is built using, excuse me, using rows and cards. So what we wanted to do is to demonstrate and to reassure you that the features that you are accustomed and familiar and used to are there. So yes, that is good feedback. I talk very, very fast. I will slow down. So what we did is we saw how we could view the basic page and the landing page. What we would like to do right now is to look at the new content type. Do you still have a question, Krista? Because I still see a little hand over there. No, you are perfect. Excuse me. Okay, so we did a little bit of a very fast walk through memory lane, the things that are familiar. We looked at content type called layout. That is your home page. Rows and cards are there. We have looked at all of the features. We have kicked the tires. Everything looks good. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the home page. And what I would like to do is to share with you a content type that I have created. And then we'll go ahead and look and see how we can find it. Okay, so there are a few content pieces that we have created for this demonstration. I'm going to share this one. It's a layout. We created it last week. I think we did this together when we added the sample text placeholder. You will notice that the title, it looks just like we had it in Drupal 9. This is your title for the page. As we scroll down, you will see that you have all of these functions down here. And then you have the actual page. You are seeing this ribbon because you are an authenticated user. The authentication will show right here. If you are non-authenticated, you would not see any of these features. But this is what the layout looks like. And what I would do right now is I want to go ahead and create one with you from scratch. So what we are going to do is we're going to click on this content module. And once you are in the module, you will see there is this pill menu that says add content. And when you click here, you're going to have a list of all of the different content types that are available to you. So you see that your alert, the article, the basic page, contacts. This is kind of like Rolodex cards, and they aggregate on a page. So you have the event type, you have the jumbo slides, which populate the Jumbotron. You could leverage that if that is a feature that your organization wants, Krista. So this is just from the previous. These are just jumbo slides that then populate the Jumbotron. The landing page is the content type that mirrors your home page. And then here we have this layout. So we're going to click on layouts, and we're going to give it a very predictable, let's call this, there we go. So this is the one for today. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to fetch some text, and I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to drop this in Notepad, and then I'm going to copy it And then I'm going to place this here. And that is all we need. I'm going to scroll to the bottom and I am going to hit publish. And this is just the first little edit. You will still get the notification at top with green that says that it has been created. So now that my page has been created, I'm going to click into the edit feature again. And we're going to look at the WYSIWYG. This is the what you see is what you get little body editor. This is where you can add different features. You can embed images. You could just do ordered list, bulleted list. You can insert a table. You could determine the number of rows and columns on this particular table. If you wanted to copy content from your previous website by selecting the source, this is where you would drop that content right here. However, there are sections and blocks, and this is where we're going to kind of go into, and I'm trying to walk a little bit slower through this, Krista. But this is the new layout builder, right? We will click on that tab. For layout, you still have the revisions, you have the clone, you have the usage. Be very careful when deleting content. We have the edit, which is for the body section, and then we have the view, which is how you will see what the end user will see. Now, as we scroll down, you will notice that this first section is the one that came over from the body where we dropped the first lorem ipsum, correct? If I wanted to add a section, I have some options here. The first section is denoted here with these dashed lines. This is the first section. If I wanted to add a secondary section, I have this dialog that populates on the right hand, and I could have 2 columns, 3 columns, whatever my preference is, but then I could select the distribution of these columns within its section. So if I wanted to have one section that is a little bit more condensed, that will take one small chunk of 1/3, that will be 33%. And then the remainder of that section will show 67%. And this is just the distribution. I'm going to go ahead and add this section. And as I scroll down, you will notice that I have those little dashed lines and I have the configure section too. Okay, so I have the first section, which is what we created on this edit on the first portion. And then at the bottom here, we have the secondary section. And now that I have selected the section, you will notice that the first is 1/3 and this other section is 2/3, roughly 2/3 right here. So if I wanted to add a block here, another dialog is going to come, but this is specific to the blocks that are contained within that section. And when I click on the predefined blocks, I have some options. For instance, I'm going to select for this example a map. So I'm just going to say, for this example, I'm going to have it display the title. But then here, I'm going to start to populate the address, and this is powered by the Google Maps like we had in the previous experience. And I am just going to add the block. Now, you will notice that because I chose to have the title displayed, it is showing Tyler, Colorado. But here you have the full functions of the Google Maps that have been embedded here. Now, if I wanted to have a different type of content, maybe something that is embedded from the web, I have the opportunity to use the Open Embed card. And I have something queued for you over here. So I'm just going to go onto my preferred or whatever it is that I want to embed, and I am going to grab the embed code right here, and I'm going to copy it to my clipboard. I got a confirmation that it is copied. That is this particular YouTube service that behaves like this, but all different ones do different things. And I'm just going to paste the little iframe in here. This is just a tiny desk concert, but this could be your Google calendar. That's a popular that we see a lot. This could be a social media. This could be whatever it is that your organization is needing to embed. And I'm going to scroll to the bottom and I'm going to add the block. And you will see that there is the title that I chose to display for both of these blocks within this section, number 2. If I am satisfied with the changes, I can stop here. Alternatively, I could just go ahead and add an additional section. And I'm going to grab some text, and I am going to populate the text in there by adding a block and then populating the text in here. And I'm going to add it as a quote. Okay. And let's call this is the Lorem Ipsum block that I'm adding. And at this point, I'm going to scroll to the bottom. I am going to save this. Not sure why it is angry. Am I missing any fields? Let's see if that will make a difference. Okay, I'm gonna close this and attempt that again. But for the sake of the time, I'm gonna save this so that you can actually see what the layout looks like. Once you save the layout, you're still gonna get this green notification that your layout has been saved. And as you scroll down, you will have the body, what we would have built with the WYSIWYG. You have the Tyler, Colorado map block, and then you have the open embed with the tiny desk. If there were multiple changes to the site or every single time that we save a layout, just like with the other content types, you're going to have a revision log right here. If I wanted to edit the body, I'm going to go back into this edit function, and then I can add more content here, whatever the case is, and I could save, and then this will create another revision of the page. So we have 2 paragraphs here. We have the map block, and we have the Tiny Desk concert. If I wanted to edit the layouts again, I'm going to click on the edit layout for this particular page. It's giving me all of this information at the top, and I'm going to scroll to make the changes that I need to execute. One thing that is pretty interesting is that I could take these crosshairs or 4 directional arrows, and I can move this to a different location without having to recreate a row in a card. I could do all sorts of things that are an improved experience just by moving the blocks around. If I didn't want to commit this change, I could just not commit it, discard the change, and when you go back, you will be able to see the original version of the page, which has the 2 of them side by side, as opposed to the map at the top and the open embed at the bottom. I'm going to go into the content so that you can see how it appears in the media library. If I wanted to narrow down my entire content tab of the media library, I could have all of my results here. However, if I just want to look at my layouts, now you will see that the content type will be one of the parameters that you could use to sort the content on this table. So when I filter, you will show the layout that we have created together. And the default for the sort is the update, but it is a table. You can sort it by whatever you're looking for. So if I wanted to sort by author, Brian was now showing at the top, and I'm showing at the bottom, and then we have Sunny and the other contributors to the site. If you wanted to look at the state, that is still consistent with the previous version. If you wanted to edit from the web, you could click on the link and it will take you to the page. Alternatively, you could, again, go to the very far right under operations, click edit, and edit from here. So I'm going to stop talking to see if I can answer some questions.
Yeah, we do have a couple of questions in the chat, Cecilia.
Go for it.
One of them was, if you have a moment, could you show the updated tables and if the tables have a header row for accessibility?
Yeah, I think in development, since I am using this in the development, I don't have the answer to that right now. So I will need to double check with the team, and I will have that prepared for for the next time we meet, or I would just provide a sample when we put out the video recording, because I am in development, not in prod. I'm so sorry about that.
Got it marked for follow-up, Cecilia.
Yes, follow up.
Yep. Are the titles the same as an H1 or H2? This is from Oscar.
I think the title is an H1. I have to follow up on that for you. The title to the page.
Yep.
Yes.
Next one is.
Hey, this is Barry. Hey, Oscar. Are you meaning like sizes, like font sizes, or I'm a little confused.
Yeah, so I assume that the initial the title of the page would be considered or treated as an H1, and everything else under that would be an H2, right? Because
Yes.
right now, the way we're doing it, it's a mix depending on the web author, but sometimes we don't even use the title for the card. We just add the text and apply an H2 so that we know it's an H2, because we've never really been sure how it's being treated, with rows and cards currently.
Yeah. So right now, I need to look at. I just noticed. So in Layout Builder, when you add a section, there's a checkbox that says show section title to end users, and then there's three pieces to that. There's a title wrapper from H1 to H6, and then title position left, center, right, and then title color. Yeah, I need to look at that compared to the page node, which is currently set as an H1 that is in the code. So when you create the page title and the content type, it just automatically shows it on the page node, like basic cards and articles, but like actual like landing pages, that H1 is hidden. So I need to look at that and also the WYSIWYG, when you organize your headings, it doesn't show the H1, it just shows H2 to H6. So that just expanded my coding brain as far as like looking into it.
Is that because the title of the page is being considered the H1? That would be my guess.
Yeah. Yes. So Layout Builder out the box, the title wrapper is showing an H1, where you can choose an H1 to H6. So I'm going to investigate that.
Yeah.
So
it would be
there's
nice to get clarification on, okay, the title page is an H1, the titles on each section would be an H2, and then everything else needs to be formatted manually.
Yes, I will. I'm going to look into that and then write that up.
And Alexa, we're going to note that for follow-up so that when we send out the notes, we can send the follow-up answer to that question. Thank
Got
you.
it. Do you want to take some of the hands? Yeah, we have a couple of hands.
Yeah, go ahead. Is it Kristen Kemp?
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
Hey, Cecilia. I just want to super reiterate the header conversation, and I see Danielle's comment in chat. I think a whole training session on headers or a demo would be essential, because that's like one of the top priorities that we've all been trained on. And Danielle's point to decouple formatting from headers, to me, is like fundamentally essential, or at least being very clear that formatting and headers don't always go hand in hand. So, but then I have two other things, a quick one and a bigger question. I thought it was really cool how in your demo you showed that the block can move from section to section. Can you duplicate it too, or can you only move it? because if you could duplicate it, that would be awesome. And then while you look at that, okay.
Yeah, give me 1 second, because I do believe that you could duplicate, you could configure them and copy them.
And then move them.
Give me 1 second. I have to see if that is a feature we currently have. I don't have the answer for that, but Alexa, do you mind noting that comment so that we could follow up in our notes as they go out?
Yep, got it.
Thank you, Alexa.
If you can make that magically possible, that would save people like hours and hours of work, for real.
Okay. And would it be helpful if we do, you know what, if that is something that is a high request, let me create a training guide specific to that once the feature has been added, so that when I'm trying to make sure that I get the frequently asked questions from the users, so that like when I build the site, we have those first. So Kristen, that is really important to me. So I'm going to go ahead and see if we could create two things, and headers training guide, and also the one about duplicating blocks, if that is a feature we could have. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
I mean, that's at least my opinion, and hopefully others agree. And then my third bigger question, and sorry if I missed this because I wasn't at the last training, just so that I'm super clear, when we migrate from D9 to D10, cards and rows carries forward, and this demo that you just gave on layouts is once we're in D10, if we want to build new pages, we need to use Layout Builder. And then eventually when rows and cards goes away, that's the tool we will use to rebuild all of our pages.
That is correct. That is a new content type. It's a new feature that we have with Drupal. So if you wanted to just keep your rows and cards as they are, that's fine. But we are excited. We're excited about the benefits that Layouts is bringing to the user community, and this will continue to grow and blossom with the feedback of the community and get better and better and better. So the short answer is yes. You could start to use layouts if you, and I think your website is really large. If you wanted to phase out the type of content that you're moving over, that is a good approach. But yeah, it will be ready once Drupal 10, once your site is upgraded.
So then, you know, into the future, when we're all in D10 and then eventually rows and cards stops being supported and we need to go into Layout Builder, which I understand is in the future. What happens when rows and cards stops being supported? Do they evaporate? Like what is the consequence when rows and cards is no longer supported and we haven't yet moved into Layout Builder?
I think Barry has a hand up that might answer that question.
Hi, I had my hand up, but it wasn't for that. I'm not sure where that lands at this point, Kristen. I'm assuming it's probably just going to go in probably a body field. So we still need to work out, like Cecilia has mentioned it, Dave has mentioned it, as far as working on in the future some automated scripts to move existing content and blocks or content and cards into the layout builder, right? So that's still to be determined.
Okay.
I wanted to jump back real quick, Kristen, about how you said you want greatest we can drag blocks around, but how to duplicate it, right? So when you create a block, they'll go into your your file folder list. So when you add a block, you'll see a list of text there, and you can just add the block and reuse it that way. So you can just constantly, I don't know, Cecilia, if you have that screen up with the layout builder view, when you add a block, if you had a block already created, you just create a new, you just add block. So you have like the block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Tyler, Colorado, things like that. So if you add a block, you can just add it again, and then it'll just add it again, like it'll reuse it. So if you want to like go below that one, Cecilia, and say add block, yeah, you can do that's how you reuse those. So you can just add another, and then you can move them around from there. And then
that is wonderful. So then my next question is, do those carry from page to page or only within the page?
It's only in this page that you're setting up, or this layout that you're setting up, because this is a layout for this page.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and then you can and you can, we haven't gotten there yet, but you can add to a library, so it would be like this whole user interface right here, and then you can reuse it on separate pages if you want to.
Well, I really appreciate that extra functionality. I think that will be great for a lot of us.
Yeah, so when you create blocks that are already out there, icon blocks or a custom block, they'll be in your little library there on the pane.
That is wonderful. Alrighty, thank you so much for that. I'm gonna try to go back to these little hands. Do we have anyone we haven't called out? Scott.
Good morning, everyone. Just real quick, if we decide to get ahead of things and start moving away from the D9 environment, from the rows and cards into the D10 environment sooner than later, kind of right away, is this a situation where we would actually have to create a new web page in D10 and move it over our content, or can we actually convert the D9 rows and cards page into the new environment? You know, using the blocks, etc. Is there a way to do that, just to keep the page in the navigation, simply just, you know, that way we don't have to replace a page in navigation, etc., etc. Just kind of wondering, I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it does. Wondering, just to get a plan ahead, if there's a way to take the rows and cards and turn it into, you know, convert them into the D10 environment, or is it still going to require us to create a new page? It's just going to be one of those things where we have to time it so that we have to include the new page into navigation, get rid of the old page from navigation, transfer the URL over, et cetera, et cetera. Seems like a little more manual work. I was hoping there would be something easier.
Barry, I see that you're on
Yeah.
mic. You want to chime in for this one?
Sure. Hey, Scott. Yeah, at this time, there's no automated setup. So if you have your rows and cards on the page, to have it like there's a button that says, like, you know, move my node or my rows and cards over to the layout builder X or layout builder Y. So it is, and right now, a manual step.
Okay, but just to clarify, it's not a manual step within that same page to move it into blocks, et cetera. I would have to create a new page.
Well, no. So you should be able to on the rows and cards on your node, you should be able to create a layout based on that. So it'll move everything. It should be able to move it over.
Okay.
I see what you're saying. Let me take a few notes on this and then
Okay.
get back to you, so you have a visual and a written up clarification on these.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think these are the type of questions that we need to follow up with you, because we're just making sure that we're successful moving from D9 to D10. And I know that the focus of this is to make sure that you guys could see your rows and cards, that you are that you can see that no features have been deprecated. So with your permission, Scott, I'm gonna add this to the follow-up list that Alexa is creating for me. And we will go ahead and follow up to this question, and Barry might have some feedback for that. So we'll circle back to Barry.
Okay,
Do we have, no, thank you. And thank you, Barry. Alexa, do we have any additional questions in the chat?
Yes, we do. From Francie, she was curious if we can demo how accordions will be created that are ADA compliant. We are using the rows and cards method in DOR at this time, not with the editor.
I could, let me jump back into there, 1 second.
Cecilia,
you're
you're
on
talking
mute.
this, you're on mute. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I went 2 minutes on mute. Thank you guys. So what we did is, just to circle back, we went into a layout that we already had. We clicked on layout, we scrolled to the bottom, and what we did is that we added a section, we added a block, and onto that block we added the sample um, uh, accordion from the WYSIWYG feature. So I'm going to go here to the top and I'm going to save it so that we could go ahead and have a view of it. So here's the saving. There it is. And then here at the bottom, there is your accordion with the quote in it. Now, the accessibility part of it, the accessibility has been mitigated on these. So when you do place the content, it should already be accessible. I think that is the case, correct, Barry, for the WYSIWYG accordion?
The current status on the WYSIWYG accordion as far as WCAG 2.2, I was just going to go with, they're not yet.
Okay. So the function right now is the accordion, but the mitigation for it to become accessible is still in the works. But the process for including the accordion itself is the same. Do we have additional questions in the chat?
Yes. Is there a rich text editor in the WYSIWYG?
Barry, is that something we configured already for layouts?
That's still in development. Along with that, there's formatting too that I'm going to be adding its plugin that Scott, I believe, talked about in the last he had a question in the last training.
So those are follow-up, those two items, the accordions and the rich text, are going to be follow-up in the notes.
Got them marked. And I think these next couple of items are just comments kind of following up on that. So during the content freeze, are community members still able to interact with our website? For example, if we have an embedded Google form, are they able to click on the form and then submit the information?
So yes, the answer is yes, because what we're asking you to do is not to make changes to the form. So the functionality on your website will be the same. If you have web forms, all we're doing is that we're just taking that and we're just moving it over to Drupal 10. So yes, you will have access to those. And again, when you move over to Drupal 10, your forms are going to be there as well. Excuse me. So if you had set up an email recipient for your form or a distribution list, those notifications will go through. Does that answer your question? Was that Josie? Oh, thank you, Amanda.
It's Amanda. Yeah.
I know that question came through partner support as well.
Cecilia, do you think during the next training it would be useful or possible to demonstrate how to convert a page for this group, as well as kind of best practices for that process?
I think that will be wonderful, definitely, especially since Barry will have a workflow of what that looks like. So for sure, if there are any specific questions, please send those my way so that I can continue to develop this training further and further to meet your needs. So the answer is yes. We're going to note that as a follow-up. And once our website is on the production environment, because we have to wait in line too, we will be able to have a production website that we could demo all of these features as they will to you. So
I think that's all of the outstanding questions. Oh, we just got one.
The page in draft mode. So I didn't see the whole flash. Let me go into chat and read that real quick. Oh, okay. Let us test that. And we're going to do this in a layout, correct? That's what you want, Francie? We want to test that feature because that's the functionality we have in Drupal 9 rows and cards. Let's test that here.
I think it's a feature no matter what you're in, the page save. So instead of saving to publish, sometimes it needs to be saved in draft mode until it's approved, or it's just not ready to be saved or published at that time.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But we know it's we know it's a draft because the background's pink. And
yes, that's the visual indicator. It is still there.
Yes, it is still there. Perfect.
Yep.
And then it's scheduling a page to publish in the future. If something needs to go at midnight, on December 31st for, laws and things of that sort. Is that going to be an option? I know we mentioned it in the past, but.
Yeah, and that is a question we haven't been asked this time around. It is good to see that people are leveraging that feature. Let me follow up with that one. So Alexa, the publishing in the future is a current Drupal 9 feature. Let's follow up on this and I will develop some tests to make sure that that feature is there. And if not, we could just put it back on the board for it to be added. But yes, that is really good to know that you guys are leveraging that feature.
Thank you.
Any additional questions we may have? Yes, I think this is from Miguel Tejada. There is a question that just popped in. It is, please correct me if I am wrong, but I am correct to believe from past questions that the team is working on a script to help move content from rows and cards to layouts. The answer is yes, there is investigation. We are researching our options to make sure that we have everything that is available to us out there. But at the moment, we do not have that script. At the moment, it is looking like a manual process. And yes, we are looking into ways that to explore moving things that are in rows and cards into the sections and blocks because they're kind of two different languages. So we have to see if there is a way that we could do that. So the answer to your question is yes, Miguel. We're researching this. And David replied, yep. Are there additional questions? I know we have 7 minutes before we're out of time, but the floor is open. If you guys wanted to, mic off or raise your hand, the floor is yours.
I had another question that I know has been asked and answered, but since we have time anyway, I'm going to ask it duplicative. Can you say again what the content freeze timeline is from moving from 9 to 10?
Yes, absolutely. And I will explain what that means. So what we're asking is that 24 hours before your assigned date that you stop making changes, or alternatively, if you need to make a change, that you note the change, because our Drupal developers are going to take that database and they're going to move it over to Drupal 10 as is. So if you are still engaging with your Drupal 9 environment, just be mindful that those changes will need to be moved manually. They won't carry over because we have already captured the database and moved it. So the content freeze is just a level of awareness that we don't have the capacity to return back to your site and capture it, to capture minor edits within the content freeze time. So if you're scheduled to go next Monday or next Wednesday or whatever the day is, we just ask that you're mindful of the changes that you're making, because those are not going to go over. Whenever the guys go in and capture the database and move it over to Drupal 10 for us to then do quality assurance, validation, and testing, we would not know to go and find those changes and move them over. So yes.
And then once we're in D10, we can immediately start making edits again.
Well, there is a request. We're asking that you allow me time for the Tyler, Colorado Quality Assurance team to make sure that logos are where they have to be, that we run our regression testing on each one of these 500 sites. So since we have about 100 sites going every week, what we ask is that you allow us some time after your upgrade for us to get in there and make sure that everything is okay. And then I will be sending you a message that says the upgrade is complete. You could proceed as normal. So it might not be the whole 3 days. It just depends on how soon can I hit your website, do all of my testing steps, and just give you the okay that the logo is in place and that, your pictures are there and that everything is looking as it should. So it's just what we would do, like when you get a brand new website, it goes live on a Tuesday, and then we go in and we make sure everything looks like it should, and then we send you an email that says your website is ready. It's the same user experience. We're just asking for some time to do some QA before we hand you your site. So if you go in there and look at it, you should be able just to see things. But if things are in flux, and we're still putting a logo in there, just don't be surprised. It's just we're asking for some time for QA.
Hey, I put my hand up. Hey, Kristen, just so when they're also for everybody, just a reminder, in that window, like when there's that content freeze and you're still making updates to existing page nodes or adding new nodes on the Drupal 9 site during that code freeze. And once your site goes to Drupal 10, any updates that have been made to the Drupal 9 site, you'll need to manually update the content or add the content to the Drupal 10 website. And we're not going to bring the database back over during that code freeze, after the code freeze, if you've made edits or updates.
So just make note, if you are a site that you need to put in a change or you need to change a file or whatever it is, just make a mental note and document for your team and assign once your upgrade is complete, who's going to move the content over. Because we just don't have capacity, 500 sites, 100 per week, to go back and fetch your database a second time. So it's going to go as is, and then whatever changes are done manually. Do we have any additional questions or feedback? The good, the bad, the ugly, just pop it in the chat. We will document it. Francie.
Hi, Cecilia.
Hi.
So with the whole moving of the database and so forth, I just want to clarify that the absolute path to get to images and documents will still follow the same URL path, right? Where nothing's changing on that, is it? Okay, good. Because that's going to be, that would be a big mess of broken links. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, if you have any questions, any concerns, any feedback, I really ask that you send those to partner support, because we're really heads down. And I know that I have received a wave of emails, and I want to make sure that I can respond in a timely fashion. And I'm not the only resource that is available to you. So if you send your feedback through partner support at www.colorado.gov, there's other people that could get to your message if I am tied up over in Outlook. So please, please, please send all of your feedback through partner support at www.colorado.gov. That allows for the system to document all the feedback. It allows us to quantify stuff. So yes, thank you so very much for all of your questions, but I really appreciate if we place those in partner support. The good, the bad, and the ugly. It's all the same to me. Just put it over there and Alexa can see it, Dave can see it, the rest of the PM can see it. So if there aren't, Francie, do you have another question?
No, I don't. Sorry, did I not take my head down? Sorry.
Oh, I thought
I'm good.
So
I'm
sorry,
good.
I thought you had put it up again.
No,
but
I didn't take it down.
No worries, no worries. We are almost at time. I'm gonna open it up to the floor. If not, I would just stay here until everybody is gone. Once we get all of the feedback from the things that we have to follow up, we're going to send these notes out. And it takes Microsoft about an hour or two to get this video rendered. I will get the transcript downloaded and I will post this on the website. So again, since this is not a power users group and this was people opting in for the recording for this, you want to go to cms.colorado.gov and on that homepage, there is a little link that says recording. And I'm going to add another link that says transcript. So again, please use partner support. That way I could get to you right away. And if I am not available, the rest of the resources at Tyler, Colorado are there to support you through this journey. Is there anything else that we could do for you today before we let you go? Well, that was the awkward pause. Thank you so very much for your time. I'm going to send the recording out. And again, use partner support for whatever needs you have. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.
Thank you, Cecilia, and thank you for slowing down for me. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And I apologize. I will speak slowly
No.
from now on.
No, please. I understand there's a lot to cover. It's just my brain. I have a lot of experience with Drupal 8, and we were in the process at an old job of converting to 10. So I have, a tiny bit of knowledge, but I'm like, wow, she's moving fast. My brain is like gonna explode.
I'll slow down. I promise.
No, I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day, okay?
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.